Welcome back. U.S. bomber jets striking 5 underground weapons facilities in Yemen overnight. The attacks targeting Iranian-backed Houthi rebels. This as Israel has reportedly finalized its counter-strike plans against Iran. U.S. officials expect the attack to happen before November's election. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris having a hard time explaining why Iran, not China, is the U.S.'s biggest threat during her first ever Fox News interview with Bret Baier last night. Watch.
What do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, in the several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel, I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
but those
is,
proxies were getting funded by
my
Iran.
commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions in
Let's go back
oil
to Donald
profits.
Trump.
Joining me now is Ohio Congressman Mike Turner. He's the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee and a member of the House Armed Services Committee. Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for being here today.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for having me.
I want to get into Iran as well as China. What is your reaction to Kamala Harris's interview last night with Bret Baier on Fox?
Well, it's very concerning whenever she describes current events, because we all pretty much, we're watching the same things. We see things unfold, and she has an inability to articulate them. But I think what's really concerning is it's not just what she knows, it's what she believes. She comes from the school of where America is the provocateur, where we're provocative, where we're the problem, and she's describing, where we will help Israel against Iran be defensive, but we won't counter that. If Iran sends hundreds of missiles into Israel and we take them down with missile defense, this administration acts like the attack didn't happen. We need to be able to counter Iran to, as you were indicating in this, that we have sanctions that have been relieved. We have missiles and systems that Iran has been allowed to propagate and use against Israel that we've not countered. The fact that this administration has not held Iran to account is really emboldening them, allowing them to destabilize the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, look, the administration continues to say that, look, there are sanctions on Iran. But as Bret said, critics say they're ignoring the sanctions. They have allowed Iran to sell oil to, for example, China, and raise billions and billions of dollars that they've used to support their terrorist proxies. So, I mean, there were also threats against President Trump, threats against Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, from Iran. They want to take them out. So Joe Biden hasn't really responded to any of that. Yeah.
Which have gone unanswered.
Right.
And I have said, if literally, this administration has acknowledged that Iran has been plotting to kill Donald Trump, a former president of the United States, and a current candidate for president of the United States, which should be considered an act of war,
right, and
members of his cabinet. They have hacked his campaign. They have also, there are people who've been arrested who are trying to plot against members of his cabinet, all of which have gone unanswered by this administration. Again, they don't take justice to Iran. As long as they are doing defensive measures, they believe that they have countered Iran. And that's not true. Iran continues to grow. They continue to be more aggressive. They continue to take more actions.
Right.
And this administration is not holding them accountable.
Well, I want to ask you about this most recent debacle that we've been talking about. The Wall Street Journal and many others have reported a suspicious fleet of drones. These drones flew over Langley Air Force Base in Virginia for 17 days last year. apparently stumping the Pentagon. The Pentagon is really tight-lipped. They claim they don't know whose drones it is. U.S. officials say they don't know who's flying the drones, and they don't know how to stop them because federal law prohibits the military from shooting down drones near military bases in the U.S. unless they pose an imminent threat. And how are they not posing an imminent threat if we don't know who they are? They flew over Langley Air Force Base. The drones then headed south over an area that includes the home base for the Navy's SEAL Team 6 and Naval Station Norfolk. What can you tell us about this, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, Maria, I agree. This is a failure both of technology and of processes. This is controlled airspace. The Department of Defense should be immediately moving for authorities to be able to take these down, but also of technology to be able to sense, really where these are coming from and utilize the technology that we have to be able to address them. But even further than that, they should be working backwards so that we can hold accountable who it is who's doing this, because this represents not only a national security threat, but certainly a threat to the personnel that are absolutely there. This should be higher on the Department of Defense agenda, and certainly, this should be something that they should be coming to Congress for if they need additional assistance.
But do you believe these drones are owned by China?
I think it's certainly possible. I mean, the fact that the Department of Defense is saying that they don't know is what's really troubling.
Right.
Because here it could be anyone. Right? It could be someone recreational on a weekend, or it could be a significant adversary.
The House Oversight Committee has been investigating the ties between Communist China and Democrat Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz. With all of the trips he's taken to China, Walz has said he traveled to China more than 30 times, coordinated multiple student trips to Beijing. Then they walked it back. They said, no, it was 15 times. I'd like to know who paid for those trips, but Chairman James Comer recently issued a subpoena to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas after a whistleblower told the committee about a group chat among Department of Homeland Security employees, where the employees allegedly raised serious concerns about Walz's ties to Communist China. Congressman, you're on that committee. Has the committee received these documents? Where are you in your investigation? What can you tell us?
Yeah, not yet. Chairman Comer's done a great job in his investigations over the past 2 years, and this is a great one for the committee to step in, because clearly we need answers. The vice presidential candidate has made very questionable statements that need answers. He's not answering them, and I think Chairman Comer is certainly going to both raise the level of debate, but also get some answers that are going to be important.
From an intelligence standpoint, sir, what is the most important issue we need to be aware of when it comes to adversaries of America?
Well, I think certainly it's China, because they're so pervasive in their threat, both militarily, technology-wise, and to the United States and our allies.
Okay. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much. Chairman Mike Turner.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you. We'll be right back.